Maverick News presents The Rick Walker Show. Defrag your mind.
Good evening, Maverick family. I'm Rick Walker. Welcome back to the Maverick News Channel. Great to have everyone here. Oh boy, where do we begin tonight? First of all, thank you to all those who messaged and called after last night's broadcast. I was receiving phone calls through the day today, and many words of encouragement and a lot of positivity. I was glad to see that glad to find that last night's show, which focused on Stu Peters and his attack on Donald Trump, was understood by so many because it was a message that Stu Peters delivered himself that seemed to register with people. It was a message that was about more than just an attack on Donald Trump. It was a message about anger, political ideology, and where we might all be going, and how we can maybe pull back a little bit and find a proper path forward. A lot of people got it, and I'm grateful for that. Thank you. Thank you, Maverick family. Truly appreciate it. And so much to talk about tonight. So much of it related to what was going on yesterday, because it all dovetails. Continued escalation on the war front with Ukraine, Russia. We'll get into that. We'll tell you why. Someone messaged me today and said, now you can worry about World War III. Sanctions on citizens, sanctions here on journalists, or at least punishments similar to what we had happen with the Freedom Convoy truckers during the Freedom Convoy in Ottawa. We'll get you an update on the wildfire situation here in Canada and abroad. Tucker Carlson making a prediction about a hot war with Russia, which echoes, honestly, what I've been saying off and on for months right here. I've had those exact concerns, and he's talking about that now too. Mandatory vaccinations still top of mind as a possibility, as something that might be coming back this fall, and so much more. And I have a really cool car. I think I might show you a supercar. It's just wouldn't spend a lot of time on it. Might share it with you if we have time. A lot of stuff to talk about tonight, though. Tons and tons of stuff. We'll bring you some information from Donald Trump himself tonight as well. A few messages from the former president, and Mitch McConnell, Senator Mitch McConnell, froze up again. That's breaking news. Very fresh news. So we'll show you exactly what happened there as well. So don't go away. We have a lot to talk about, a lot to share, a lot to explore tonight, right here on the Maverick News Channel. I'll be right back as soon as I find the right button to click here. Here we go. We're away to the races.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now, at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program. For your mind.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
When I was in high school, one of my favorite classes was social studies. Depending on where you went to school, what year it was, sometimes they called it political science, or they had different names for it, but social studies. It was an examination, a study of current affairs, politics, civics, some law, history, a mix of all of these kinds of subjects, all of it related to the study of man, politics, just our society, community. Anyway, I remember the teacher, this would probably be in what, grade 10, I guess, saying that we discussed like whether someone is too old to be the president of the United States. And I remember him saying that there's a general belief among many, especially those in power. And he shared this idea that it's better to have an older president than a younger one, because with age comes wisdom. And there's also, and I'm putting some words in his mouth here, and I apologize, and I'm not naming the teacher. It's a long time ago. I'm sure he's retired. There's less testosterone in play. You know, when you're older, you're a lot less likely to react irrationally, emotionally to a serious situation. And if you have somebody in a position of power who has their fist over the big red button and can punch it at any time, you want someone who's thinking clearly and who isn't just going to act out of anger or vengeance. And that kind of, I think, is something that comes to bear regardless of what the position is, any position of power or political clout. But there is a point at which it becomes impractical. And we've seen that through history, through time, with presidents like Reagan, who near the end of his presidency was clearly not as sharp as he was when he first took office, but got through his second term. And others, there've been others. And Biden right now is clearly not in his prime, and probably should not be in the office because he is so far beyond his prime that he's now clearly suffering from some degree of dementia. Well, today, Senator Mitch McConnell also displaying clear signs of mental decline. And you have to have compassion for someone in a position like this. He froze again today. He froze up for more than 30 seconds during a public appearance, and then he was escorted away. It was the second time this has happened in just over a month. He's 81 years old, and he was there taking questions from reporters after an event with the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce in Covington. He just stood there staring into space, did not respond to reporters or others. And then with assistance, he was whisked away. Here, I'll show you what happened. This from WLWT Channel 5, NBC.
What are my thoughts about what?
Running for re-election in 2026.
That's
Did you hear the question, Senator? Running for re-election in 2026? All right, I'm sorry, you all. We're going to need a minute. Senator. Penny.
okay.
Somebody else have a question? Please speak up.
So pretty clear what's going on there. And of course, we wish Senator McConnell well. Time for some decisions to be made, I suppose. Times change. Tonight, I received this message from our Maverick correspondent and contributor over in Crimea, Kevin Michalizzi. He messaged and said, he says, "Now I'll let you worry about World War III." He was alerting me to a drone strike overnight at a Russian airbase on the Russia-Lithuania border. And it looks like the drones came in from the direction possibly of Lithuania. And that's troubling. Because this marks a definite escalation. And it means that this could mean that they allowed Ukraine to fly drones over their airspace, maybe. And we're seeing more than that. But let's start with some video of that, what appears to be the exact drone attack that Kevin was making reference to. Not really hearing about this in mainstream media tonight, but this is very serious. So this is an attack that is being reported by Russian media, a drone attack at an airfield. And it hosts both civilian and military aircraft. Some sources say that at least 2 military aircraft were destroyed in this attack. And here's the footage. And this is inside Russia.
Не пойму, в каком районе. Как аэропорт, что ли?
And you can see that this is substantial. Explosions from the distance. At least that's what it appears, sounds like anyway.
Боже, такой черный дым.
And this is dangerous because the more threatened Russia is, the more threatened Putin feels. The more likely it is there will be really serious escalation. And if more countries are getting involved in ways that appear to contribute to the existential threat to Russia, then I think you'll see an escalated response from Putin, from Russia. It only stands to reason, and we've had analysis like that on the program many times here, showing or explaining that Russia, this is not a conflict that Russia will allow itself to lose. They can't afford to lose. And not only are we seeing that, we're going to go to Patrick Lancaster because there has also been a missile attack. And it appears it was an American air-to-surface rocket. At least that's what's being reported. So according to Patrick Lancaster, Ukraine is continuing to fire USA-supplied weapons in areas where there are civilians. And today, Ukraine fired, according to this report, several or many AGM-88 HARM air-to-surface missiles into civilian areas of Donetsk. And Patrick Lancaster went down there to take a look at the damage and provided a report from the scene. There was damage to an apartment building that was under construction in Bolivar City. And I think what I will do is simply let Patrick Lancaster speak for himself. We won't run this whole report, but we will give you some of the information that he provides here. And then, of course, if you want to go to his channel, you can get more information there, but we'll get you the meat of the matter. Here we go. Patrick Lancaster.
Donetsk right now, incoming to the center. I'm on my way. I'm Patrick Lancaster, and what you just saw in the previous video was the view from my balcony of a Ukrainian rocket hammering the center of Donetsk. We've raced to the scene right next to the Ramada Hotel here in the center of Donetsk. And Ramada, by the way, is the last hotel in center Donetsk that has not been seriously damaged by Ukrainian shelling. So as we understand, the shell hit the side of the building here, which is a apartment building. We're going to get a little closer look to find out exactly what information we can find out. But the fact here on the ground is a huge explosion just happened, as you saw, in the center of Donetsk. This isn't some artillery. This is some major rocket. So we're going to find out exactly what it was, if it's Western supplied or who supplied it, and find out as much information as we can here on the ground, because no one else will. Please like, share, and subscribe. Remember, we're totally independent, crowdfunded journalists. You can support my work with the link on the screen or in the description. Что произошло?
Says, what has happened? Incoming hit. What kind of building is this?
Что это,
Seems like
Даня?
nobody lives here at the moment. Does it seem like repairs? Yes.
Ага, ага. Как на ремонт, да? Ага.
Says,
И это,
it's
Даня,
like
что
he has
это?
not been commissioned yet. And what
Это
is that
школа.
building?
Ага.
This is a school.
И это как
So this
футбол,
is a school,
да?
and there's a football
И
field. They
можно
ask
вопрос?
you, is there any
Военный
military
объект
target
здесь?
here? No.
Нету? И как вы думал, почему украинский стреляет здесь?
He asks why they would shell this area. Doesn't know. People are looking at the damage to the building. Kind of unusual damage, I would say. Some shrapnel. And they're documenting the situation. Russian authorities there. And he's counting up how many stories. Looks like about the 18th story. And the employees of the investigative committee are conducting the examination of the consequences of the shelling attack. Shell fragments were found. The shell caliber and type are unknown. They'll be taken to the expertise that will specify their type and kind. So they've got some shelling going on there. More fragments found.
So now
damage.
the JCCC has come, which is another inspecting organization or department, governmental department, who they've been going for many years here in Donbass doing the inspections of the shelling sites. You've seen them in many of my other reports, but the first one, as I said, is the Russian inspecting team. So now both teams are here doing the inspections. Possibly they're going to be moving in, going upstairs to where the exact incoming hit was. And as you see, there's other journalists here as well. So we're showing you everything we can here on the ground. Holy shit.
Yeah.
So it didn't take out the whole building or anything, but there is substantial damage inside. For those of you just listening on our
Literally says rocket motor here.
podcast. Wow. A lot of damage. So we'll pull out of this for the moment. And again, that footage from Patrick Lancaster on the ground, who says that there were American air-to-surface rockets that hit the center of Donetsk, the Donetsk area. And he's there documenting the damage. So you can check out Patrick's YouTube channel and follow his work. He's doing a lot of really good work over there, getting footage that you're just not finding anyplace else, which just shows how important independent journalism is. Let's take another brief break, and we'll be back with more of our independent journalism right after this.
Fear not the storm, for truth is on our side. Maverick News. The world is watching.
So keep all of that information that I just provided in mind as we go to this next little nugget of information, which comes from the Jimmy Dore Show today, which was guest hosted by Craig Pasta-Jardula, who has been on this show, actually on Strange Bedfellows. I think it was Strange. Well, anyway, one or the other. I can't keep anything straight. We did an interview with Craig Pasta-Jardula here with Lori, and he's was co-hosting today the Jimmy Dore Show. And he had a guest on, and they were talking about people being concerned about the possibility of new mandates coming back. So, boy, I don't even know if I should run that, because I just thought, we're on YouTube, but then they're on YouTube. So if I run something from YouTube that deals with that, would we get banned if they're not banned? And that's where it came from? Seems like some people get away with a lot and other people get away with nothing. And when I say get away with, I mean not really doing anything wrong, but you're saying things that they decide that you shouldn't be saying, and so you get banned anyhow. Or at least some people seem to, while other people can talk about anything they seem to want to talk about. I don't know. Makes no sense to me, really. But here's the clip. We'll run it. And if we need to, we'll deal with the consequences. But I don't think anything really that bad was. It's not bad anyway. I keep saying that. I'm buying into that whole idea. You got the idea. Let's just run the clip.
Ryan Chris Jones with us today. How you doing, buddy?
Good, brother. It's good to see you again, man. It's been a while.
It's great to see you. Like I said, I miss our conversations on Tuesday, and I'm very excited to have you on today. And I don't know what it is, but sometimes in the political world or the news world, when you just put it out there. I don't know if Joe Biden knew you were coming on today, but then he just gave us a little golden nugget of what's to come. I retweeted this out. Here we go again. But I'm going to play it again. This is Joe Biden. I'm going to play it one time. And this is what he said over in Tahoe over the weekend, talking about COVID possibly coming back when it comes to vaccine and mandates. Take a listen.
President, can you say anything about the uptick of COVID cases and the new variant?
Yes, I can. Matter of fact, I signed off this morning on a proposal we have to present to the Congress a request for additional funding for a new vaccine that is necessary, that works. And tentatively, not decided finally yet, tentatively, it is recommended that it will likely be recommended that everybody get it.
Everybody.
No matter what they got before that.
And, just so we know, it's not Sleepy Joe just going out and mumbling stuff. It was followed up by our press secretary this morning.
The president said in Tahoe that he had tentatively decided to recommend everyone get the new vaccine. When is he going to decide finally?
So I think you've heard from the FDA and CDC. They've made an announcement on the new vaccine. So certainly they said that there'll be an updated vaccine mid-September, I believe. So we know that, as you all know, vaccinations against COVID-19 remains the safest protection for avoiding hospitalization, long-term health outcomes, and death, which is why we are going to be encouraging Americans to stay up to date on their vaccines.
How about new? I had to throw that one. I had to throw that one. I had to throw that in there. Ryan, you were so nuanced about this coming out of the gate. I got a lot of information from you and Slow News Day and Jason Burmis, where a lot of people were like, "Hey, man, how did you see this coming out of the gate?" And I always talk about T-Lab, but now it seems like they're setting us up for again. Here we go. I mean, 6 months till the first primary in South Carolina and Iowa. Your thoughts on Joe Biden saying it looks like this is going to be mandatory whether they got the last vaccine or not?
Yeah. Well, there's so many ways to take that. First, since you mentioned the election, the obvious point that people are making, which is, I think, very easy to see, is this lines up yet again for the mail-in ballots that you're always talking about.
Okay, so you're getting the idea. Okay. So what do we see here within the last week or so? We've seen Alex Jones predicting that mask mandates, lockdowns will be coming next month. Then he kind of walked that back. So he made that bold prediction and then said that because he had reported it, that the government had decided to not do it. So I don't know where we're at with that. And now we're seeing this. And within the last 24 hours, we've seen mainstream media reporting things like this in Canada. Canada's first case. This one is getting some attention. Canada's first case of new COVID variant is detected in British Columbia. And the subheading here says there doesn't seem to be increased severity with the strain, and the infected individual is not in the hospital. So at least there's that. The BC Centre for Disease Control has detected Canada's first known case of a new COVID-19 variant that has swiftly circled the globe. And what one expert says is a reminder the virus never went away. So this is the BA 2.86 variant of the Omicron strain that was identified in a person from the Fraser Health region who had not been outside the province. So if the person hasn't been outside the province and it came from outside the country and this person has it, then one would think that they were infected by somebody else within the province, which means there's more than one person walking around with it, which means there is probably a whole bunch of people who have it, if logic follows. In any event, that's what's being reported in mainstream media, giving rise to a lot of concern. That was in the Vancouver Sun, but that story has been carried across the country in Canada over the last 24 hours by many mainstream media outlets, which just fuels the idea that we might be headed to a fall where the very things that Alex Jones was talking about may come true after all, even though he's now saying that won't come true. And why would they do that? I don't know. Well, I do know. We all know. So the bottom line is, I don't know. Does Alex Jones know? Well, he said he knew. Now he's not. Now he's saying no. But we're seeing stories like that, and now we're seeing stories like the one that we have on the Jimmy Dore show. Who the heck knows? But people are certainly worried about it. And then today, you know, if you're talking about lockdowns, then some people would say, well, that's what they would use, and that's what they were going to. That is where they were going with the Jimmy Dore show, right? This talk that coming from Biden, and then how would that impact the way primaries might be handled, and would there be lockdowns? Well, Tucker Carlson has a different take on the whole situation. And this is a clip from Tucker that is going viral tonight, where he is saying that, yeah, the government wants to exert more control, but they won't he thinks that we're headed for a full-scale hot war with Russia within the next year, and it will be that gives the government, or puts the government in a position where they will implement far more control over our lives. Listen to what he says. And this kind of is where I went before too. Like, I think, well, we're already at war with Russia, but let's just listen to this.
You know, here's my view of it. I think the lies are unsustainable. Lying is always unsustainable. You're always found out in the end, whether in your lifetime or posthumously, but lies are always revealed by their nature. And these lies are so big and so obvious and so stupid that it's going to be very clear to the majority of voters before the election that the Biden administration has no idea what it's doing, that Joe Biden is not running the government, and that it's not working at all. And I think by that point, we're going to have a real economic contraction. I think we're going to be in the teeth of a very tough recession, and that makes everything much more intense. And so if your goal is to maintain power, and if you think once you relinquish power, the problem with criminalizing politics is the people who do it imagine or know that it will be done to them. So once you start indicting your political opponents, you know that you have to win or else they're going to indict you if they win, right?
Right.
And so they can't lose. They will do anything to win. So how do they do that? They're not going to do COVID again. I know everyone on the right's afraid they're going to do COVID and mask mandate. They're not going to do that. They can't do that. If they've already been exposed, that won't work. There's going to be, no, what are they going to do? They're going to go to war with Russia. That's what they're going to do. There will be a hot war between the United States and Russia in the next year. And
really?
Yes, of course. They want it anyway. I don't think we'll win it, but that's a separate analysis. But I think it's a political matter. They need to declare war footing in order to assume war powers in order to win. I believe that. And I think the evidence suggests that's true. So if you're worried about our politics getting like even more vicious than it already is, and people being hurt in our politics, which is entirely possible, you should be worried about the prospect of an open war. We're already at war with Russia, of course. We're funding their enemies. So we're fighting Russia. But I mean, an open battle with Russia where we say we're at war with Russia. I think that could easily happen. I think we could Tonkin Gulf our way into it, where all of a sudden missiles land in Poland. The Russians did it. Our NATO allies been attacked. We're going to war. I could see that happening very easily. So if you're worried about that, you need to put as much pressure as you possibly can on the Republican-held Senate to force a peace, which can be done. The United States could force a peace in Ukraine tonight. We're funding one side. There is no Ukrainian army outside of NATO. If NATO withdrew its support for Ukraine, Ukraine would crumble in a day. So we are the only power in the world that can bring both sides to the table to force a peace, which will be unsatisfactory as all forced peaces are. Like each side will give more than it wants, but that's the only option. Otherwise, I would bet my house on it. We are going to war with Russia. And of course, the stakes are everything, our life on the planet. I mean, these are the two biggest nuclear arsenals in the world facing off against each other. So like, this is insane. They're insane. These are people who think men can become women, who believe that face masks save you from COVID. I mean, these are not rational people. Would they go to war with Russia? Of course they would. Again, they want to anyway.
Yeah. That's it. I've been saying the lunatics are running the asylum, and we're trapped in the asylum. Yesterday, I said, I don't think that we're going to have mask mandates and vaccine mandates and all of this stuff come back in the way that it did before. Oh, we're going to see increased concerns and reporting on the virus coming back because it's getting into fall and people are inside, and just like the flu, the new COVID variants will spread, and they are out there. How serious they are, I don't know. We'll find out over time. As we saw from that mainstream media report from the Vancouver Sun, they're reporting that the person infected is not in the hospital, so they're not that sick. We'll have to find out how serious this is over time. My guess is not nearly as serious as it was before. And you can gauge how serious that was before on your own. So I think Tucker is right on the money. That is what has happened throughout history. When you have a president or an administration that is in trouble because their popularity is waning, where they have a weak, especially if they have something like, a weak economy, which we do, much weaker than people realize, or other serious issues on the home front, often what happens is they go to war somehow. It's traditionally been, I say traditionally, normally, what they do is they go to war in some other country and then focus on that for a while to distract you. And that's a pretty major distraction. But, in this case, what we're looking at is crazy people with crazy power and access to crazy weapons, nuclear arsenals, and they're ready to go to war in Russia. And they seem to want to do it. They've wanted to do it for a long time. And if they do that, what if Canada would be right there in lockstep? And keep in mind what happened in Canada during the Freedom Convoy. What did Trudeau end up doing? He invoked the Emergencies Act, which is the new equivalent of the War Measures Act. It's the same thing. And if you go to war, then the government is automatically in a position of control and power where they can invoke, in Canada, the Emergencies Act again, if they deem it to be necessary, if we are at war, actual war with another country. And in this case, it would be a full up, out in the open conflict with Russia. Not this, well, they're calling it, some people say it's a proxy war, but it's clearly more than that already. We're directly involved on many levels. The weapons we sent there were never supposed to be used on any targets within Russia. And yet today we're seeing that there are direct attacks inside Russia and have been, and they're ongoing. And yet Russia has not escalated to a point where we're under attack here. What would an out in the open actual conflict, a real war with Russia end up looking like? I'm not sure, but I'm really worried because if you go to war directly, openly, and declare actual war instead of like a wink and a nod, and you just go full out, you think the Russians won't attack us here? You think that there won't be bombs dropped here, missiles launched here somehow? There's some sort of attack? You think it's all going to be over there? The other thing I've been saying is they want your sons and your daughters. They're coming for them. Zelensky wants them. And if this escalation continues, then of course we might be looking at, a draft, or they might just take the existing forces we have and over they go. And it will be boots on the ground on the front lines. And instead of just Ukrainian soldiers and civilians dying, it will be Canadian and American and British and other people from other NATO countries on the front lines dying over there next. And we have now seen, according to the reports that we're receiving here, well over 300,000 Ukrainian soldiers killed. somewhere in that range. And half the country displaced. People have left Ukraine. Half the population. Yeah, you know what? I'm worried about World War III. I'm worried about it. I've been worried about it from the very beginning. People say, oh, nah, probably not. No, don't worry about it. You should be very worried. The biggest threat to humanity is not climate change. It's that damn war. And we are at war. The war is actually already here, in my view. And I mean here on the home front. Because I think that what we're getting is, it's not even just a war with Russia. It is a world war. And you have an information war going on here in North America right now. Not surprising. And I don't think it's just Russia or China or, and it's not just the United States. It's like every player, everybody is screwing with people's minds using information warfare right now. And it's domestic politics, it's domestic political forces, it's outside countries. There's all this information coming in, and people can't make sense of a lot of it. And you know why? And this ties in to what I was showing everyone last night as well, with the Stu Peters attack on Donald Trump. And Stu Peters is part of it all. Exactly, what his exact role is. I'm, you can decide for yourself. The goal is chaos, disruption. Don't try to make sense of it beyond that, because the information you're being fed and that I'm being fed, we're all being fed, coming from all these different actors, all these different players through information warfare, it's all resulting in disruption. And don't think for 1 minute that it's like just Russia or just China. This is the United States, it's Canada, it's other countries, it's political parties, it's political activists, it's anarchists. You name your ists, you name your political ideology, everybody's in on the act. There's a war on for your mind. Your minds, our collective minds, our individual minds. And the ultimate goal for those who seek power right now, and they have one common goal, and that is to create disruption. They might not even be friendly politically. They might have ultimately different goals. But the first thing they need to do is tear it all down. It seems everybody wants to tear the country apart. The government is tearing the country apart. They're doing it in their own way, and they're doing it using the system by abusing and distorting the system and creating aberrations within the system, doing it from within. The others are doing it from outside the system and using information warfare. It's complex, it's crazy, it's driving people crazy because a lot of it doesn't even make sense. But the one thing that does make sense is they all seem to have one goal in mind, and it's not even just seem to have, they have one goal in mind: create disruption, create chaos, tear at the fabric of our society, tear it down. Once it's all destroyed, you create the chaos, it dislodges, disrupts the government. The government isn't trying to create chaos in the streets necessarily. Sometimes they do, to get people fighting for different reasons. But, you know, it isn't their intent to like unseat themselves from power, but it's you can't make sense of it because you don't know who's sending you the information and why they're doing it. I would just say this to you folks. As someone immersed in media, and you might not be following what I'm saying here tonight. You don't want to lose your mind? You need to step back and just say, and just don't believe much of anything that you're seeing come through media. You have to question everything, and I mean everything, especially the stuff that you think is true. Really analyze it. I'm telling that to people, and I don't know if it's resonating with people. I don't think it's I don't think a lot of people are not getting it. I think last night some people finally started to get the message that I'm trying to send out there. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, please go check out last night's episode, and maybe that will help you to some degree, because this crazy disruptive information war that we're all being bombarded with, it's potentially taking us to a very, very dark place. And I'll tell you this, I love the United States. And I love Canada. I love my home. I see a lot of great things still about where I live. And I look forward to visiting the United States again soon. I used to go there a lot. Haven't been to the US since the pandemic hit. But I'll be going back. And I love the United States. And I don't want to lose it. I don't want to see it gone. And I want my home, I want Canada to survive too. And I want to see it come back or move forward to a more positive place for everyone. Right now, things are really weird. And that's because we are at war. And just keep that in mind whenever you're watching anything or reading anything or listening to anything. Because the first casualty of war, which we are in, the first casualty of war is truth. And man, I am telling you, I am seeing a lot of lying going on. A lot. A lot. And that's why I think Tucker is on the money. I hope it doesn't come to that. But whether you're looking at predictive stories like George Orwell's 1984, where he lays out a future where there's a constant war going on because the governments always need an enemy in order to keep people in check. Or whether you look at our real history, this is exactly how this stuff plays out. And today, with the technology that we have, social media, artificial intelligence, and psychological techniques overlaid with that, we're in unprecedented times. And most people were never fully prepared for this because this evolution of media has happened so quickly that our species has not really had time to fully and properly adapt. And that it's going to accelerate at an exponential rate in the years, even just the months ahead. Brace yourselves, folks. We are in for one heck of a ride. I'll be right back.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
And so the craziness continues, especially for journalists. The government is using the same kinds of techniques against its own citizens now, and journalists that they use against foreign countries to exert control. I guess Max Blumenthal in the gray zone, they've had their GoFundMe account frozen, the funds confiscated. They're working, I guess, to have refunds issued to those who donated money. But that appears to maybe be a reaction to criticism of the U.S. or NATO war efforts in Ukraine. Of course, who the heck knows what their real reasons are? The bottom line is they're targeting a media outlet. And that shows how far they're willing to go. And if we do end up in a full-scale, out in the open kind of war with Russia, you can expect to see a lot more censorship, and you can expect to see more things like that happen, where they will, I'm sure the government will target people who are maybe peace activists or political opponents. They will use the war also as an excuse just to exert more control over people, because they'll be able to. And anytime government has access to power, they use the power. It's just the way it works, because power corrupts. That's just the way it works. And politics is a dirty game, especially when you're talking about politics within the United States, which is supposed to be the most powerful country in the world, with so much at stake there: nuclear weapons, aircraft carriers, fighter jets, tanks, nuclear submarines, laser-guided missiles, laser beams from space, the Space Force, and probably a lot of weapons we don't even know about. With all that at stake, do you really think that the politics is going to be clean? They're going to fight dirty, because everybody wants the damn power. Power. After Georgia's indictment of Donald Trump, there was a new national poll that came out showing him not only beating Biden, but that he would defeat Biden in a landslide. The McLaughlin National Survey found that Trump leads Biden 47% to 43%, up an additional 2 points in this month alone. And that would be enough to give him the the electoral votes that he needs for a landslide victory, according to the polling. In addition to that, there was another poll that came out, and it showed, I think it was a Fox News poll in the past week, that showed that Donald Trump now polls very well with black voters, at least in comparison to where he did when he was first elected. You may recall that when he was first campaigning and in his first election, remember the message that he delivered to black voters? Here it is. So this is, I'll show you the clip here. Because it was, it was always a challenge for Republicans to appeal to black voters. Trump started to change that. He definitely changed it, and he did it in this way. You'll remember this appeal. I would use the words, but I just want to let you hear it from him. Again, this was a long time ago now. This is what he had to say. Back in the day, in the before times, which were, well, was it the before times? It was sort of the beginning of the new times, the new normal, because this led to today. This is Trump appealing to black voters.
No group in America has been more harmed by Hillary Clinton's policies than African Americans. No group. No group. If Hillary Clinton's goal was to inflict pain on the African American community, she could not have done a better job. It's a disgrace. Tonight, I'm asking for the vote of every single African American citizen in this country who wants to see a better future. Look how much African American communities have suffered under Democratic control. To those I say the following: what do you have to lose by trying something new like Trump? What do you have to lose?
Yeah. I'll bring it back. So here's the second half of that.
What do you have to lose? I say it again. What do you have to lose? Look, what do you have to lose? You're living in poverty. Your schools are no good. You have no jobs. 58% of your youth is unemployed. What the hell do you have to lose?
What do you have to lose? That stuck with people. And I think at that time, with black voters, he was polling somewhere around 5 or 6%. Today, the most recent polls I've seen, he polls 20+% with black voters. Yeah, 20. So do you think Joe Biden and the Democrats might feel just a little bit threatened by that? Yeah, I would think so. So if you look ahead to 2024, there's an 8-point turnaround in favor of Trump from the 2020 election, which means that according to this McLaughlin poll, you're getting some Democrats even coming over to vote for Trump. So in the key battleground states, Trump leads Biden 49 to 41%. And that would result, according to the poll, in a Trump electoral landslide. Now, What should we make of that? Well, I don't know. The poll says that you're plus or minus 3%, and there's a 95% confidence rate in that polling, according to the pollsters. But we also know that polling is done for political reasons, and the methodology is extremely important because they'll skew questions, they interpret the data, and they cook things up in order to get results sometimes that they want, so that they can then report those results in order to skew public opinion, because everybody loves a winner and nobody wants to vote for a loser. It's true. It's a psychological thing. People don't want to waste their vote on a loser. And if you have forward momentum, because polling shows that you're, on the road to victory, it tends to create more and more momentum that way. So take it for what it's worth, all this polling. But if the Democrats really do feel threatened, and indeed it looks like they maybe do, then look for maybe a severe reaction, up to and including maybe going to war with Russia, because they'll need to do something, I guess, in order to just tilt the odds in their favor just a little bit. Okay, let's take another quick break, and we'll come back with more news, information, current affairs, and commentary right after this.
Hello, world. Are you awake? Uniting humankind by liberating millions of minds at a time. Maverick News. The world is watching.
So, just a little Canadian news here for a moment. Some of this might make you scratch your head. Some of it might make you chuckle just a little. Ontario, that's the province of Ontario, the Ontario housing minister apparently violated the Integrity Act in the Greenbelt land swap. And this is up in the Toronto area where they've had this, it's a greenbelt. It's like land that was supposed to be sort of protected from development, but the Ontario government has green lighted development in the green belt because we're experiencing a pretty severe housing shortage in Canada because of immigration and government regulation. So the government is scrambling to find some way to have more housing built. And of course, what are they doing there? Well, in some cases, some provinces are, using government planning. In Ontario, there's some of that going on, of course, with non-profit housing starts and so on. But they're also in the green belt. They're opening this land up, which is controversial, to housing developers. And Ontario's Integrity Commissioner has found that the province's housing minister has violated the Integrity Act in this land swap. So in a report that was released today, Steve Clark, the housing minister, apparently, according to the Integrity Commissioner, contravened two sections of the Members' Integrity Act by failing to oversee the process by which lands in the Greenbelt were selected to development. This is an ongoing story, continues to be, developed, but the government's under a lot of scrutiny. the premier under a lot of pressure, a lot of criticism, a lot of speculation that maybe some friends of the government, of the governing party, of Doug Ford, the premier, or maybe some other members of government or people in power, maybe some people are getting their pockets lined just a little bit with favorable treatment so that they can develop lands inside the green belt. And here we are with the housing minister himself now being targeted or identified as someone who has violated the Integrity Act because of this issue. Last year, the province took 7,400 acres of land out of the green belt to build 50,000 homes, and they replaced it with about 9,400 acres in other areas. But that's premium real estate that they are identifying. Now, anyway, enough of that. There's another story that made me kind of laugh. The transportation minister, let me just find this information here. I'll maybe get it for you. Here it is, right here. No, I don't have it. Transportation minister was caught on social media, I think 5 separate times, not wearing a seatbelt. This was in Quebec. Genevieve Guilbeault is apologizing because these photos have emerged of her not wearing her seatbelt while on the road. And of course, we have seatbelt laws. 5 times. Different rules for thee. Oh, I had to laugh. I shouldn't. But at least she got caught. Any consequences for that? Because, you know, the depending on the province, the penalty can be quite substantial, like the financial penalty. I think it's like $100 or $200 in some places, something like that. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. What other stories do we have for you tonight? Yes, the wildfires, Northwest Territory. I think we have a news conference here with the premier and federal ministers, and they're going to take some questions. And this is the most up-to-date information on the wildfire situation in Northwest Canada. Northwest Territories. Let's go to that, shall we? And pick up that information for you. I know that everyone is very focused on the wildfire situation, not just in Canada, but certainly the aftermath of the tragedy in Hawaii. And we have wildfires in many other countries around the world, in Greece and elsewhere. So here we go. Now for this news conference, and they toured today the evacuation center. These public officials, I believe it is in Edmonton, for people who've been displaced. This is the Northwest Territories Premier and federal ministers. And here we go.
Hi, everyone. We're just going to begin shortly. I'll do the introductions so you have the names. So we have Premier of the Northwest Territories, Carolyn Cochrane. We have Dan Vandel, Minister of Northern Affairs.
Just a little off mic.
For Prairies Can and Canor, Government of Canada. We have Randy Boissonneau, Federal Minister of Employment, Workforce Development and Official Languages. We have Minister Todd Lowen, Alberta Minister for Forestry and Fire Response. And we have Mayor Amarjeet Sohi, City of Edmonton. Okay. So if you can try to direct your questions to the appropriate person, and go ahead.
Oh, good to see you. Yeah.
What does
Is it for me?
Yes.
Okay.
What is the government of the Northwest Territories plans for the community of Enterprise, which has been devastated by the wildfire?
Enterprise is a really horrible thing to see. People that were living there, people that drove through when they were evacuated from Yellowknife, everyone's talking about devastation to that community. Over 80% of the community is gone. So there will have to be a real focus on rebuilding that community. It's not like people say that some communities, well, they can just move. Enterprise is really critical for the North. It's a main transportation stop. It's a place that people from the northern communities stop to get gas before they go south. So there will be a focus on making sure that that community gets rebuilt as soon as possible.
How have you been able to answer questions from people maybe here today, just over the past week, or maybe email to go home? What is your answer to that?
I want to go home too. We all want to go home. It's hard being evacuated. I want to first start with saying huge thank you to everyone here, the federal government for helping us with military, for logistics, for all the support, the Alberta government for helping with firefighting, for helping with communities all over Alberta, helping people, the community of Edmonton for that are hosting in this beautiful building. So, but the question is, when do we go home? Reality is I want a timeline too. Some things we can control as government, but we can't control fire as to the limit. We have limits we can do. We can't control the wind and the temperature. So we've got high temperatures still in the north. What I'm telling people is as soon as it's safe to go home, as soon as the fire's in control, then it will take about 4 or 5 days at least. We need to make sure that the power, the sewer, the airports, the hospitals, all that infrastructure, grocery stores, gas stations are functioning first, and then we'll bring people home.
I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but there were reports of NWT or CMP dealing with people trying to go through roadblocks and go home regardless of the order. Like, are you aware of that? Can you confirm that? And what were your thoughts on that?
Again, I know how people feel. We're all evacuated, and people are tired. They want to be home. But it's really important that people not try to go home until they're called, until it's time, because not only do you put yourself at risk, you're actually putting our first responders at risk. Every single community that we've evacuated, and we've had 10 evacuations this year alone, there's always people that want to stay behind. And the reality is that then we have to focus on saving those people instead of fighting the fires. So please, I know you're tired, but please stay out until it's safe to go home.
The state of emergency out in the Northwest Territories, by the way, has been extended to at least September 11th.
Is there plans for students, college, high school, any students from Northwest Territories to be going to school in Edmonton temporarily to start the year, or has thought been put into that?
Most students that are in post-secondary are still able to travel to their colleges, university outside of the Northwest Territories. If they're going to Fort Smith, of course, that will be an issue because Fort Smith's still under evacuation. So we work closely with the education authorities in the Northwest Territories to define communities that are not evacuated will be starting school right away. Communities that are evacuated will be having to wait a few more weeks, but then we'll be working on to make sure that they get the education.
Was there ever talks or like explorations into the logistics of having kids go to school in Edmonton, or that's just simply not a possibility?
Well, in honesty, like I said, that wasn't a consideration that I'd made. The district education authorities might have talked about that. I'm looking for my education minister that was here, but he's disappeared on me. So we're hopeful. We're really hopeful that we'll be home in the next few weeks. There's no guarantee on that, but at this point, we're just making sure that students will have the supports when they return. Well, I'm really grateful that the education district in Alberta has offered those services. I'm more than grateful for that. I'm assuming that some parents will take that option up, that people have a right to choose what they want with schools. And then, of course, like I said, we'd be working closely. It's not unusual for students to actually be moving in between school semesters. That happens a lot when families move from community to community. So again, I think I have to say my appreciation for the education system in Alberta for offering that.
I have a question maybe for Minister Vandal. Just talk about your experience today, what you maybe thought it would be like, and just kind of how you felt walking through there.
Yeah, for sure. First of all, I want to say that our hearts go out to the people of Northwest Territories, the government of Northwest Territories, and we're here as a federal government to do everything we possibly can to help the territorial government, to help the citizens of Northwest Territories through this very, very, very horrific incident, the forest fire. I met quite a few people who are from the territories who have been here approximately 2 weeks, and they appeared in good spirits, but they want to go home. There's a lot of uncertainty that's out there, and as we know, uncertainty is taxing. It's stressful. You can tell they're in good spirits, but they're stressed. They want to go home. They're not sure. Things are stabilizing, so they're waiting for the official go ahead so that they can go home and restart their lives. I also want to thank the Alberta government and the city of Edmonton for being here for them. I think this shows a great solidarity amongst Canadians. We're there for one another. We're here to help one another. And our government will be there for Northwest Territory residents for as long as it takes, whatever it takes.
I was going to ask you what you just mentioned. Just what does this whole last 2 weeks say to you about maybe the solidarity of just seeing municipal governments working with provincial governments and federal governments in times of need like this?
Well, this is unprecedented. First of all, it needs to be said that the fires in Northwest Territories is certainly unprecedented in my history. In British Columbia, the same thing. I think in times of need, Canadians help one another, and we were all together today. We've all been working together from the very beginning. Cities, provinces, federal governments, and I think if we can do it in time of need, it's incumbent on us to do it more often, to be pulling in the same direction.
I have a question for Mayor Sophie. There's a lot of hotels that do still have capacity. Some are saying they haven't been reached out to for hosting some activities. So why is the city putting up the message that there is very limited capacity and many hotels still?
Yeah, so that's what we heard from the people who are managing this center, and the number of registrations that has been taken place. We're close to 7,000 people registered here. I was checking 35% of Yellowknife's population is currently living in Edmonton, and we want to make sure they're supported properly. So Red Cross is working with them, and we work very closely with Red Cross to keep track of the availability of hotels. So that's what we have heard. If some hotels have not been contacted, I will encourage them to call Red Cross, because the more capacity we can have, the more people we will take in.
Mayor, how do you plan on getting the message out to your residents that it is time to go home, when it's time to go home?
So, well, there's a number of messages. Every night, the last few weeks, we've been doing live updates on for media. We're also, I think we've cut back to Aggie twice a week now. Twice a week. So I encourage people to follow that. That will give you the first headline. That's live stream through the GNWT and also through the city of Yellowknife as well. We're having trouble with our GNWT live streaming, I believe. Other communities, Fort Smith and Hay River, they've also got their mayors are active on this. We will be reaching out. And in honesty, Facebook, I'm not a big fan of Facebook, but Facebook is really stepping up. And so contacting through different social media issues, again, telling residents, if you have any questions, if you're not following the news, if you're not seeing it, please reach out to us. Reach out through our government emails, reach out through your Facebook, reach out through your friends if you need them to do it for us. We're
Facebook
trying
is
to answer
stepping up.
questions as they come as fast as possible. Again, we all want to go home. So that's the question people want to know.
Oh. Facebook is really stepping up. Oh my God.
Yeah, Fort Providence has been a huge help to us. It's one of the communities, like I had said, Enterprise is the first place we stopped for gas. With Enterprise not having the capacity now, we're units a lot. So we have provided financial people. Please apply for it if you drove out. There's $750 that's available for people for driving out. It's online now, so you can apply for that. And we'll be making sure that we have emergency gas along the way to make sure that anyone that breaks down, that they will have the gas necessary. That's okay. So every community that's actually hosting evacuees, and Fort Providence is helping some evacuees, will qualify for hosting a grant that we provide to communities. We're conscious of the need for gas in Fort Providence. We've been making sure that that we have trucks that are going, that they're kept fueled up. I'm also going to say there's a lot of communities in the Northwest Territories are reliant on the city of Yellowknife for dispersing their food sources, for supplies. It all seems to come through Yellowknife. Cabinet has discussed that, where we will be providing supplements so that people in all communities that need food, that need supplies, that they will get those resources. It might be diverted from Yellowknife. It is diverted from Yellowknife, but we're aware of that, and we're going to be covering the extra cost for that as well.
So I'm going to conclude this media QA. Just so you guys know, tomorrow there is going to be a media briefing that the government of the Northwest Territories will be doing at 4 o'clock. So if you don't get our media advisories, you can reach out to pressecretary@gov.nt.ca to get that media advisory, and then I'll send you on. Okay? Thanks very much.
Okay, whatever. Facebook's really stepping up. They sure are, aren't they? Because, yeah, our news page is still blocked in Canada, and you can't see news. They're really stepping up. What? Swear to God. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Stepping up. The Liberals, according to new polling, are getting squeezed in Canada. And new polling shows that JT might be in a whole heap of trouble because the Conservatives are leading, but it's not just that. The demographics have changed. You know, normally, younger voters tend to be more inclined to vote Liberal, especially in Canada. But this new polling shows that younger voters are drifting away. The federal Liberals have seen a dive in popularity among younger voters. And that has been like, they've made up sort of a big part of the core of the Liberal base. But they've fallen 23 points behind the Conservatives at this point. This from new polling from Nanos Research. So the data shows that the Liberals are now in a distant third place for that 18 to 29-year-old voting bloc, with 15.97% compared to the Conservatives and the NDP, with 39.21% for the Conservatives and 30.92% for the NDP, the New Democratic Party. It's a big dip for the Liberals. At the beginning of the month, they were at 26.8%. That's just, a few weeks ago. Now they're way down. And the Conservatives are up. There's voter fatigue setting in, I think, and I think just a lot of the negativity that JT is attracting now, the shine has worn off. The Prime Minister and his sunny ways. Let's take a break. More to come right after this.
We are Mavericks. We say no to the Trudeau and Biden New World Order. And to bugs. Because bugs are creepy and gross. And people should not eat bugs. Maverick News. The world is watching.
We covered the Republican presidential debate. We had a lot of people watch. It was that was a well-watched episode of Maverick News. But I guess over at Fox, the ratings were down. And when you talk to Trump, it's all about ratings. And he says everything is about ratings when it comes to politics, which is kind of true. And because ratings are important and reach and frequency of messaging, he's posting regularly on Truth Social these days. And this is Trump commenting tonight on the Fox News ratings and the GOP debate, which he did not attend. Instead, he did the Tucker Carlson interview.
The debate on Fox News had a hard time with the proverbial ratings. You know what television ratings are. It's all about the ratings. It was one of the lowest ever rated in terms of debates, if not the lowest. It showed that many of those participating are second tier. They were second tier people like Christie and people like Ada, I call him Ada Hutchinson, and merely pretenders to the throne. They're just pretenders to the throne. These aren't presidential people. These aren't presidential talents. Some of the answers were so bad, with delivery even worse. The numbers were less than half of what they were in a debate that I happened to participate on 2016. Not a good way to start the fight against crooked Joe Biden and his absolute lunatic thugs. We will not let this country suffer anymore under the reign of a man that can't put two sentences together. Crooked Joe Biden. He's the worst president in the history of our country. He's the most corrupt president. And frankly, he's the most incompetent president. We will win in 2024. We're going to make our country great again. Thank you very much.
And Trump also commenting on the very subject matter that we led this broadcast with tonight. Well, second story in because of the McConnell thing. Hang on a second here. Trump commenting this evening as well on the threat of a direct conflict with Russia. Here we go. Donald Trump worried that the Biden regime may lead us straight into a direct, wide open third world war directly with Russia.
Crooked Joe Biden is not only dumb and incompetent, I believe that he has gone mad, a stark raving lunatic with his horrible and country-threatening environmental open borders and DOJ, FBI weaponization policies. He is a mental catastrophe that is leading our country to hell. We'll end up in World War III because of this man, and for no reason whatsoever. Thank you.
And that's it. Wow, man. Yeah, I'm worried about that too. What else can I share with you tonight before we move on to maybe some phone calls? Well, a couple of things, I guess. You want to see a cool car? I love automotive design. I love the shape of like sports cars, supercars. Alfa Romeo. They have a new piece of rolling sculpture that they have unveiled. If you've ever been to a big auto show, you don't, average people, normal, the media, we get treated to great things sometimes because at these big auto shows, they turn these vehicle unveilings into these spectacular events with light shows. It's like going to a rock concert, because they really want to sell the car. And most people don't get to see that stuff. It's all for the media, So I'm going to share this with you to kind of give you a taste of what this is all about. And things have changed since the pandemic. The auto companies don't do it the way they used to. They used to go to big auto shows. They still do this sometimes, but they used to do these things at big auto shows in New York or LA or the big one in Detroit, the North American International Auto Show. And they would put on these extravaganzas, these big, huge media events before the show opens to the public. In the day before usually, and you would go from section to section, display to display, and the auto companies would do these things. But now they kind of do their own things, and some of them are even more spectacular than they used to be at the auto shows because they kind of plan them, and well, they're big deals. Anyway, this is Alfa Romeo. And you can just imagine the wind rushing through your hair as you get behind the wheel of this Alfa Romeo 33 Stradale. It's a stunning car, and the 33 carries a double meaning. It's an homage to the design lineage of the iconic Tipo 33 and a nod to the exclusivity of this supercar, as only 33 of them are being made. Yep, that's right. Only 33 of these things are being created. And they had this, I'm going to show it to you, I'm going to share it with you, this rock concert style vehicle unveiling. Pretty wicked stuff, man. Let me bring it up here for you. Where did you go, Stradale? Here we are, the Alfa Romeo world premiere. Check this out. Gotta love the design. Here we go.
Buonasera. Bello, no? Buonasera. Benvenuti. Grazie. Lo posso dire? Grazie. Grazie. Benvenuti e buonasera a tutti from everywhere in the world. Alfa Romeo 33 Stradale. This is our baby. Sorry, guys, this is your baby. Because Alfa Romeo is not only Italy. Alfa Romeo is the world, and you are coming from more than 50 countries tonight with us. By the way, a car introducing the CEO of the brands. When you attend a normal car presentation, guys, the rule is often the other way around. You see what I mean? The CEO is presenting the car. No, at Alfa Romeo, the star is the product. The star is the product. And I can tell you that I took the helm of Alfa Romeo in January 2021. I visited the museum of Alfa Romeo, second step, just after the touch point at Torino. And you immediately feel on your shoulder the responsibility you have when you visit this museum. Ad Arese.
So anyway, they're paying homage to these other cars from the past, you know, all the way back to the 60s. And it's just, I love the design, man. I just love the art. I love the history. That thing is gorgeous. It is just beautiful.
Bringing the brand to profit. Why? Because if
So you have to appreciate that.
Don't speak about product planning.
It's a machine. It shows what human beings are really capable of, you know, when they put their mind and the effort into it. Look what we can achieve. That's blending technology with human creativity. Just an incredible feat. It's amazing what we can do. I mean, we can go to the freaking moon and beyond.
And this is our challenge now. We all know that
Capable of so much. I think back just, you know, my childhood and the kind of machines that we made back then.
We needed a kind of symbol.
People made them with their bare hands, you know. And now with the technology that we have at our disposal, the sky's the limit, man. We can do anything. If we just get focused and start heading down the road in the right direction, stop trying to destroy everything. Let's take the best of what we have and build on it. That's what they did with that machine. They looked backward and they said, where did we come from? And they respected that. They looked at the design and the technology that generations before had created and built, the legacy that they left for us. And then with extreme respect for that history, for that heritage, they moved forward and created something brand new. This incredible machine.
We designed the new 33 Stradale in
This piece of rolling sculpture
It means that our approach of the project was
with incredible performance, characteristics.
not hesitant at all. Respectful, but not shy.
And yeah, maybe it's only for a certain number of people, 33 of these to be built. But it's a halo car. It's
what you see today,
something that sets the bar.
mirroring our past, and at the same
And the
time,
achievements here
to our old
will trickle down into the machines that they build for everyone. We all benefit. The design, the technology that was developed here will find its way into the cars for all of us. And the technology that is in play here will find its way into other products and other things that will elevate, improve our standard of living. Because somehow, some way, human beings manage to come together and build, create, and work toward a better day for tomorrow, to improve life for people everywhere. That's what that thing represents. It isn't just a car. It's an achievement. And you can find that same kind of inspiration in everything around you. Everything. The design of everything around you, even this cup. Human beings are capable of so much. If only we would just focus on creating and solving instead of blowing things up.
From the early stages of this project in July 2021.
But here we are today,
Thank you.
looking at that. Artists, engineers, support staff, everything that went into that. Just think. From the paint to the production of the rubber, to the metal, to the fabrication, to the design, to the CNC machines that produce the parts. Unbelievable what human beings can do. I find real inspiration in that. Love that stuff. And what a show. Love the light show and the music and the pounding bass, and it gets you, you know? Makes the hair stand up on the back of your neck, and it's like, I got the shivers. Love it. Just love that. Absolutely love it. Anything else? What are those things going to sell for? Let me just look that up. I don't know, $1 gazillion. I can't afford to buy anything like that. I don't. They probably haven't announced the price. I don't think they have. Yep. Anyway, love that thing. And that is part of Alfa Romeo, part of the Stellantis group, which includes Chrysler, down there in Windsor. Windsor Assembly Plant. They're building that battery factory down there too with our government money. Anyway, leave it to the government. They'll screw everything up, including the auto industry. But somehow we'll find a way forward and we'll solve these problems. How about some calls? You want to do calls tonight? Want to do some calls? Let me check the chat. Hello. Let me check the comments over here. Calls, I guess so. Maybe a couple. Let me get it set up. I'll come right back. And while you watch this, I will set up the phone lines. Just a reminder, too, that you can support the show, and we really need the help. Pays for the phone lines, and we need to dump some money in there every month. As soon as we run out of our fees. You can donate at freedomreporters.com. Sure would appreciate the support. Thank you to those of you who have donated. And maverickdonations.com. Maverickdonations.com. Those are the two ways to donate. The third way is to use the Rumble rants over on Rumble. We're demonetized on YouTube. You know all about that. No super chats for us. freedomreporters.com. And we're not on the main YouTube channel over there tonight, but we are on the backup channel. Thanks for watching there. Please consider subscribing over on the Rumble channels. That would be super fantastic if you could do that. Let me give you the link to the Rumble channel for tonight's broadcast. I'll put that in the chat here, in the YouTube chat, on the secondary channel. If you're on that secondary channel on YouTube, please subscribe to that too. If we can get some other channels kind of jacked up, beefed up, that gives us good backup and ensures that we still have a voice in the face of being banned elsewhere. So there's the Rumble link straight to tonight's broadcast over on the Rumble channel, the main Rumble channel. We have a second one over there too as a backup as well, and we're doing pretty well with that. We need some more subscribers though to make that one work a little bit better. But in any event, go subscribe on Rumble, whatever. We're going to go to the phones here in just a minute. So do not go away. You get to have your say when we come back right after this.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Okay, still working on setting up those phones. Here to call.
Join the conversation. Call 1-833-975-3733. That's 1-833-975-FREE. Speak up. Speak out. Make your voice heard. Maverick News. Fighting for freedom by defending your right to free speech. Be a Maverick. Join us.
Okay, folks, the phone lines are open, and you can join the conversation at 1-833-975-3733, 1-833-975-3733. And we are ready to get this up on the screen so that the phone lines are pumped in properly. There we go. And we are properly configured. And we have our first caller of the night. Go ahead. Who do we have?
You got the mouth that salt the man without a plan, the master of all your disasters, Rick. What a great show last night. I believe that Salt Peters, is that his name?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Mr. Peters. Stu
He's
Peters.
a liberal fucking shill. And I'll tell you why. Because any conservative that talked gibberish like that would be fucking locked, popped, and sealed.
I agree. I agree with that.
Right? So he's got to say, and he uses the word God like he's dead. What do we call him? What's his name? Stu?
Stewie. Yeah, Stewie Peters.
Stewie Koresh of the Branch Davidians.
Mm-hmm.
Right? These are the suckers out there. Anybody following these guys, I'll tell you, get as far away as you can. Don't be donating to their cause. Okay, it's a sick world that we're living in, and there's even sicker people that follow it, right? And follow these clowns.
Yeah. A lot of darkness out there, Leo. A lot of darkness. And, I'm glad that you're calling in tonight because, you always bring the light, man. You always do.
I try and stay positive, Rick. I have to, right? If I go negative, I go to prison very fast. So I keep positive. Okay. And speaking of prisons, did you see that thing I sent you the other night? Or I tagged you in it?
I'm not sure.
How people in BC, prisoners in BC, are asking for prison, okay, sentences to be longer, so they're getting an extra stay. And the reason why, okay, and I sent it, I tagged you in anyways. The reason why is the cost of living. It's $3,000 a month for a one-bedroom apartment. So these guys are getting kicked to the street with their basic welfare, whatever that is, $600 a month. Okay, they already know the outcome. They're just going to go back to prison. It's a revolving door. Wow. How are they going to survive? They're going to do crime. They're going to do crime. So they're asking for an extension. Believe it or not, Rick. Okay, this is where it's come to in this country. Okay, where they could see the affordability rate. Okay, they're more safer in prison because they get their 3 squares a day. They get their hot in their cot, and they get fresh socks in the morning. Okay, there's a TV. There's a telephone. You get free shampoo, free bar soap, free toothpaste, free toothbrush, right?
So they feel they're better off, and they'd rather be in prison than be out free where they have to pay.
Bingo.
Wow. They're better off in prison.
Bingo. Well, this is how they feel, right? And, like I said, they're going to get kicked to the curb. What are they going to do? More crime. So they already know the outcome. So they're asking for an extension on their prison terms. I couldn't believe what I was watching. Okay. And this is going on, right? So, it is what it is.
Wow. Welcome
I
to
called
Canada.
it months ago. Yeah, where you're free or in prison.
No, I didn't see that story, but that shows you where we're at.
Yeah, that story's resonating, and I'm sure Polyev will be taking that to the bank, right? He probably already has, okay? But that's a story that came out of BC, right? And but it's like that right across Canada. You look at any big city, Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, okay? It's unaffordable. Now, Justin Trudeau came out with what was the word he used? It was a pretty big word for my vocabulary. Because I'm a simpleton.
Yes, he kind of almost. It
wasn't dunce.
No,
it's
no, it's
densification.
no. It's yeah, you're on it.
Come on, you got the you got the masters in journalism.
It's on the tip of my tongue. It's densification.
Densification. So densify. Okay. You know what that means, people? I'll tell you what it means. If you go live in a big city, they've been densifying in the big cities. Now, I'm not racist at all, but I was in Vancouver. Beautiful homes out there, Rick. I'll tell you, clay roofs, okay. But they call them Hindu mansions because the Hindus were coming this in the 90s, okay. The Hindus would come and 20 families would live in the house.
Mm-hmm.
That's densification. And that's what he's talking about, okay. Because the housing crisis is so, here comes my brother, my sister, their kids, their dogs, and their pets all going to come and live in my house. Okay, that's densification. Now everybody chips in. I like the idea. Don't get me wrong. I love my brothers. I love my sisters. I love their cats. And I love their dogs. Okay, I like the way that it's set up because now everybody's paying a piece of the pie. And this is how people end up buying a lot of real estate because they do this with one house. The house is paid off for very, very fast. I don't care if you're paying $1.5 million for it.
Yeah.
Okay. It's paid off very, very fast. You move on to the next house. You move on to the next house. Next thing you know, you got the whole damn block, right?
Yeah.
So I like the concept of family. Don't get me wrong. I grew up in a big household, and I love my brothers. I love my sisters. I love my mother. I love my father, right? God rest his soul. I never turn my back.
It's about more than that, though. It's about their approach to creating communities and society. They want people like Trudeau. They want people living in apartments. They want people to move from rural areas into the cities. They want them living in apartments where they take up less land. It's that whole mindset. It's degrowth. It is have less. People, they don't want people to have too much. Just live in a box, which means live in an apartment. Don't live in a house with a front yard and a backyard. They want everybody jammed into apartments. That's what.
Well,
these,
this is where
yeah.
this is where prisons come in and why people don't want to leave. That's your 15-minute city, folks.
Yeah.
Go look at any institution in Canada. That's a 15-minute city. It's always been a 15-minute city. Okay, for anybody that's been inside, you know what I'm talking about. It's a 15-minute city. This is what the government wants to do. Now, he should lead by example if he wants, what was that big word again, folks? Come on, Rick, help me out.
Densification.
Densification. Densification. If you want to densify, why don't he start by fucking doing it himself and lead by example?
Yeah.
You think 26 Sussex or whatever it is, 666 Sussex in Ottawa, you think he's going to have 20 families living in there?
No.
Give me a break. Right.
But yeah, it's an approach. But the funny thing is, people on the other side, they've got these ideas for things like tiny homes, living off the grid. In a way, they're doing exactly the same thing, just it's a slightly different approach to it. But in the end, instead of having a full-size house and a front and a backyard, you've got these tiny little mini homes that are like a little bit bigger than a shed maybe, but that's what you're going to live in. And the people on the other side think that they're getting free doing that. Like, we're going to free ourselves from the government shackles and go run off into the wilderness and live in tiny homes and communes. You're just doing it to yourself, kind of.
And this is the thing about Polyev. He says, okay, we're going to cut. We're going to do it this way, and we're going to get houses built. We're going to make it affordable. When you're paying $12.50 for one 8-foot 2x4 in Canada, you're not getting a house affordable.
Right. It's
still going to cost you $300,000 just in building materials to build the house, never mind the cost of the lot, right? So you could say, we're going to make affordable housing. You can't make affordable housing when the prices, of everything's gone sky high. So I don't know what kind of bullshit he's trying to pass off, right? But I don't get it. I don't get him at all either.
You have to grow the whole economy. You need more productivity. You need to increase supply in order to bring prices down for the building materials and for everything else, right? You can't just increase the supply of houses. You need to increase the supply of all the materials that go into those homes. Otherwise, you're just building houses that cost a fortune to build because 2x4s are unaffordable.
Exactly. Okay. And a lot of people are pulling out on their investments now because they smell what's cooking around the corner. Okay. And that's going to be a housing bubble collapse. Just like 2008. Okay. It's going to be a lot worse because everybody got that free money in 2020 for the, you know what? Okay. I can't say it on here, but everybody knows what I'm talking about. You get the free money at interest-free loans. Well, those loans are coming up. Okay. Some people, you might have signed a nice 10-year deal. You might have signed a 7-year deal, but the guys that signed the 5-year deal, your turn's coming up really fast.
Mm-hmm.
So when your term comes up, and the interest rates hit the sky high, I lived through it, man. I lived through it in the 80s. I see my dad buy his first house. It was only $35,000, but the interest rate was 18%. Okay, and that was the going rate back then, 18% on a mortgage.
Yeah.
So that $35,000 house is over. By the time you paid it, was over $250,000 over the term if you're going to pay those rates, right?
Yep.
Sickening.
Yeah, we bought our first house for $67,000, and you know what? I wish I had never had to move because that thing would have been paid off a long time ago, and we could have just been sitting there for years. But man, today, good luck for anybody, starting out who wants to buy a house.
I'm in the same boat. I paid $96,000 for my house 25 years ago. I'm still paying a little mortgage on it. But I bought the house across the street last month for $70,000. And everybody said $70,000, and I was even iffy on throwing out $70,000 for it because you know what? If the interest rates go up, I'm going to end up paying a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'm at the end of my rope. I want to retire someday, right? So, I did it to help my mother-in-law out, and at the end, I'm going to end up with the house and then a second set of headaches, right, that come with the house. That's maintenance and everything else, right? Property taxes, you name it, the fire and theft insurance, all that. And back to the 2x4. If you think the price of a 2x4 is going to go down, you're wrong. All these fires that are burning, guess what? The price of wood's going to go through the roof.
Yep. And not to mention the cost of house insurance, especially out there in those areas. And because the insurance companies are going to have to pay out on those claims, all of our insurance will go up.
Right. This affects everybody, not just BC, not just Yellowknife. It affects every Canadian that pays insurance. Okay.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't get it. Oh, I get it. I get it a lot, right? I get it more than a lot of other people do, but I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. You know, people say, "Oh, vote somebody else in. We're going to have the same problems." Believe me, it's going to be even worse. But Poilievre seems to be the front runner and the choice. If you want to get Trudeau out, which I do, I'm going to have to vote that guy in, and I just hope that he keeps a fraction. Let's be realistic. 10% of his promises would be nice.
Yeah.
Just 10%, folks. Not 100%. 100% would be overwhelming, but you know that's not going to happen. Just 10%. Trudeau couldn't keep 10%.
Yeah,
I haven't seen a government in my life that kept 10% of the promises he made to get elected.
Yeah, we need growth. We need growth. We need growth economically to improve the standard of living for everyone. And, you know, productivity will bring prices down. But I don't know. We'll see what the governments do.
I'm very eager to see what happens here because I work for a massive company. It's the largest tooling company in North America. And it's financed by hedge funds out of New York City, right? So if shit starts to crash, guess what? They close the doors on this place. But it is what it is. I got a nice little story for you anyways.
Okay.
I bought a, this don't relate to anything we're really talking about, but I bought a power washer for 2019. Used it for 4 hours. Did my house, did my porch, stained my porch. I go fire it up the other day. Fires right up, no problem. Well, it's leaking water all over the place. I'm like, shit, could it be the pump? So I bring it to work. I put a clamp on it, right? Well, it ain't the pump. The pump's working, so thank God. I look at what the cost of the pump was. It was $550. I only paid $800 for the machine, just for the pump. Well, it's not the pump. It's a manifold. It's aluminum, and there's a hairline crack in it, right? So I pulled it all apart last night at work because I got so much to do at work. Let's add a little more to my day. So I pull it apart. I get the manifold off, take it over to the welder. He puts a laser weld on. Well, first, I'm trying to find the part. You can't just buy the manifold, by the way, folks. You got to buy the whole pump with it. So it's $550. So I take it to the welder. He puts on the laser welder for TIG, right? It's aluminum. Right over the crack. Beautiful. Works like a champ again. Fix it. If you could fix it, fix it. Right? So that saved me $550. I'm a happy camper this week.
Yes, sir.
So if it breaks, everything's fixable. That's the moral to this story.
And that's how you free yourself. That's how you free yourself. The less you spend, the less you have to put out, the more you become independent, right? Invest a little bit in yourself that way, and that's freedom.
Right. If my jet ski breaks down in the middle of the Detroit River, I know how to fix it. Okay, because I've been around it long enough. I know everything about them, right? If it's a wiring issue, no problem. I could fix it right on the water. If it's spark plug, I always carry 2 brand new spark plugs with me at all times, right? I just know. Okay, and I'll fix it myself. If it's a water pump, I'll take the water pump apart and put the impeller in it. It's only $1.70 for a rubber impeller that go on these things, but they'd rather you throw it away and spend $550 instead of taking the hour to pull it apart and pull something simple out of it. Okay, sad. And people are forgotten. A lot of people have forgotten how to fix shit.
That's right. We're a throwaway society. That's what we've become. And that's the other reason I don't ever want to live in an apartment again, because when you live in an apartment, you don't have a garage, you don't have a backyard, you don't even have a driveway really where you can fix anything. You can't go into the parking garage and change your oil in your car or fix your power washer. Not that you would have one anyway, living in an apartment, but you know what I'm saying? There's
Right.
independence that comes from living in a house or on a farm or in a rural area. You got people need to have a little bit of space.
Well, now with these cities, I see Montreal actually, they're thinking about implementing the same shit that's going on in England right now for people with cars.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that in England? $20 a day. You want to drive your older car, they're going to tax you $20 a day to drive your vehicle. And the mayor, whatever her name is, of Montreal, she really likes the idea. Really?
Yeah.
Are
Yeah.
you joking me?
Money
This
grab.
is how they're gonna a money grab. So if you drive your car every day at $20 a day, okay, that's $600 a month on a 30-day month. $600 a month. It's a money grab. It's disgusting. That's what it is.
It's insanity, is what it is. It's left-wing socialist crazy insanity, neoliberal wokeism gone crazy.
Here's your insanity. You got Fetterman, you got Mitch McConnell, and you got Biden. These are the people making decisions.
Yeah.
Serious decisions with serious votes on these serious decisions. And these guys couldn't even hold a conversation with one another.
Yeah.
That's scary, buddy.
Yeah, they just sit there and stare off into space. Where am I?
Stare off into here. Yeah, okay, we're gonna go to war with Russia. Here and sign here. They sign off. See you later. We're in war. Unbelievable. Unbelievable what this world's coming to. Yeah. It is. Get to your next caller, Rick. Always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you for calling, Leo. The pleasure's mine.
One more thing. Monty's out there watching. He put it in his post. He lost his son today.
Oh.
It was on Rumble. I don't know if you watched the chat on Rumble there, Rick, but yeah. May your son rest in peace, Mr. Monty. Okay, and take the time that you need. He was talking about he was venting. Believe me, you're not venting. You have all the right to vent. Today is your day, my friend. Prayer sent.
Yeah, our hearts go out. Thank you,
Yes,
Leo.
sir.
Thank
Have
you.
a good day, Rick. Bye-bye.
All right, who's on the line next here? Go ahead. Who do we have?
Hello there. How's it going?
It's going well. How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm looking at there's some super moon that's supposed to be the closest ever to the Earth, and it's cloudy out there. Can't see nothing.
Ah, that sucks.
Maybe it's not cloudy in your area, but here, it was last night. I can see it bright as hell, but tonight is the night. And turn this off. And yeah, so yeah, where's that shitbox of a car you were showing there? Who the fuck? Oh, watch my language. Who the hell would want to buy that piece of junk? I tell you, that I can imagine the price tag on that piece of junk, made of plastic and is it probably electric too, eh? Eh? Yeah, most likely. Most likely. Today I was at the. I'm doing my gambling today with. I had like $600 worth of betting going on, and there was nobody in there at the gas station, and all of a sudden there's a big lamp behind me, and one guy goes, "Hurry up!" I looked at him and I says, "Maybe you should buy an electric car." You can't wait 5 minutes. That's what I said to him. Anyhow,
oh my!
That thing does it come with the red hot peppers on the mirror there? You know the red hot peppers. Does it come with that? Or
I think
no?
Those might be extra.
That thing. I was looking at it. That guy was like twice as tall. I could imagine him trying to get in. Like me, I couldn't get into that car. It's too too small. You know, it's almost on the floor. You know what I mean?
You
You
don't.
know, there's no.
Well, you can. I'll just tell you,
You
you
know-
can get that thing in either gas or electric. Let me just look up. It has. It'll go 206 miles per hour, 0 to 60 in less than 3 seconds.
Yeah, and lose it. First, cops will pull you over, impound the thing.
If you can afford the car, you can afford the speeding ticket. The electric
It's
version
not
goes
the
from 0 to
speeding ticket,
60
it's
in
impounding.
under 2.5 seconds. Is that insane or what?
Yeah.
Well, if you got look, man, if you're in a rush, if you're really in a hurry, you might need that.
Yep.
You might need to get to the supermarket really fast. Like, right away.
No.
I gotta go.
I haven't got a speeding ticket, knock on wood, for years because I drive the speed limit, but I might be getting some red light cameras. I think they caught me on one the other day. I went through the light; it was just changing, and I noticed a speed camera there. I go, "Oh boy, here we go." I'll probably that's no points, but nah. Today, imagine if you get in an accident in that thing, you'd be crushed. You'd be crushed, Rick. Instant dead. I'm telling you.
Here I am.
That thing is like
I was trying to
pull up
lift
like an accordion.
I was trying to lift everybody up, John, and show people
you
what
know,
human beings are capable of. And you do all the positivity.
I was pumping gas the other week, and this guy pulls up nice. It was a '67 SS Chevy, old thing, eh?
Yeah.
Beautiful. It was. I said, "That's a nice car." It was in mint shape. He goes, "Thanks." And then he started talking about the thing in the arm. Just started talking, and I go, "Okay." I said, "No, I don't." He goes. You know, they're gonna all these new cars. He's saying they all got GPS in them.
Yeah.
They control your car. They can stop it. He goes, you know, they're putting that you know that thing they're putting in it. And he goes, when they put that in he goes, I don't have that thing in my arm. But he goes, that that they put in it.
Yeah.
They oh, you can say it here. Okay. He says they
well,
they
careful what you
control
say.
you. They can read you through satellites. They know where you're going all the time. You go through the airport, they know if you don't have that thing in the arm. They know because it doesn't pick it up on their radar. And he goes, what they're going to do is they're going to say, 15-minute city, you won't be able to go out that. And they track you with this thing. Your car won't be able to go past that. He goes, this whole world's gone to shit, he says, you know? And I'm going, oh, yeah. I said, yeah.
Did he have
and
the
then
thing?
He
he said he didn't have the thing?
No, he never got that. No.
Yeah.
And then he started talking about this guy, David Icke, I-C-K-E. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Yeah.
I kind of looked him up a bit, but
yeah, I know who he is.
He says this guy, everything he says is the truth. He goes, you know.
I don't think I'd go.
Really?
I don't know if I'd go that far, but I know who he is.
Okay. Well, I started looking him up, but
yeah,
you know, but he had a nice car there, and but I rather have a nice old Mustang or. You know what I mean? Luxury. You get in there, you know, even a Hummer. You ever sat in a Hummer there, Rick? It's like a football field in there. There's so much room. It's not funny, you know?
Actually, I think that when you get in a Hummer, based on the size of the thing, the cockpit is incredibly cramped. Like
the new
not
ones,
that it's
the old
cramped,
ones I'm talking about.
But you get in there, you think there'd be more space in the cockpit, you know, and actually they don't make very effective use of the space in a Hummer, in my opinion.
The new one, but the old ones I'm talking about.
Yeah, the old ones
talking
too.
about the old one.
Like I think you get more.
Not
truck.
few Hummers.
Hummer.
And there's, you're looking at the other person. They're like,
I don't like Hummers. I don't
What
like
the
them. And they suck gas like they're just a sponge on wheels. And I don't like Hummers. Don't like them.
yeah. Well, best car is Toyota. That's what I drive. And knock on wood, it's never given me problems. But I put money into it on batteries and tires and oil changes and stuff. Cabin filters. I keep changing that all the time. But it never breaks down.
Yeah, they go and go and go. Yeah, because they're really
every car I've had it breaks down, or they rust. This thing never. I get it rust checked every year, so it never rusts.
Yeah.
You have to get it. Yeah, you have to. I went to get an oil change at Mr. Lube a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And the guy's trying to sell me a rust proof, and he says, we got a deal, $99. I said, I get mine done at Rest Check all the time. It's a red oil. Oh, no, this is way better. And I said, he goes, go downstairs. The guy will show you what it's like. So I go down there, and I'm watching my head and everything. And it's like it's a light brown liquid that they spray on it.
Yep.
And he says it gets hard. But I said, I don't want that on my car. If you got rust, it seals it. It's going to rust even more, and you won't see it. At least the oil will spray on top.
Yeah.
So rust check's the best. I'm telling you. But
I do my own. I do my own rust proofing every year. I go to the automotive supply place, and it's like it's the same stuff. A lot of the places use it. I just buy the giant container of it, and I've got the equipment, and then
that's good.
I get my dad to come down, and I do his, and I do mine, and I do my son, and then
red oil.
It's like a golden color. It's an oil based product, and it's thick, and it sprays on.
Rust check is a red oil.
Yeah.
And the good thing about Rust Check is they stick the long dong in the doors. You know that long dong.
Yep.
They put holes in your doors, and they stick this long dong in there and spray inside you right to the end of the door. And I go, that thing. That's what I tell them all the time. Spray really good this time. This year I'm going to get it sprayed really good. We're probably going to have a real bad winter this year.
Yeah.
Because,
well, it's the darn salt. That's what gets the cars up here.
Yeah.
It's the salt. Rust.
So they spray inside. That's what I like about it. Most like this other shit they spray on that's it. They don't spray inside your doors and inside your trunk and hood, inside, and then they spray underneath, But look at the water, the hurricane in Florida. Wow. But anyways, look at the only way to travel, Rick, is like Taylor Swift. See what she does? She plays everywhere, all over the world, and she might have 3 shows in one stadium. You know what she does? She's got 2 Lear jets, and after every show she flies home to Tennessee, and then she flies back the next day. She doesn't want to sleep in no hotel or nothing. She wants to go home and sleep. That's what she does, and she lives in the same place in Tennessee that she's been living. She's got houses all over the world, mind you, property and houses, but they're not stupid, those people, but for investment. But her main house, Tennessee, and guess what it is? It's a condo, Rick. She doesn't even live in a house.
Yeah.
I guess she's never home.
Well, for somebody like her, she
sleep.
doesn't, she doesn't need that, probably doesn't want it.
Yeah.
You have to take care of it if you have a giant house or whatever. So there's something to be said for it. It depends on what people need.
Yeah. Florida got banged, man, today. A lot of water there.
Yeah, the hurricane coming in there. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, that's the way you do it. I would be the same as her. If I had her money, I'd fly home after every. I don't like hotels. It's just, you know what I mean. I just don't feel right. right sleeping in a bed. It's just how many places, how many people have slept in that bed? I don't know. Sometimes I don't even think they change the sheets. If sometimes they look at them and they just recover it. Who knows?
You never know.
I remember I took this girl to Buffalo one weekend. We had to go to a show, and so I grabbed a hotel, and then we drove home, and we had crabs. I had crabs. We both had crabs. Oh my God, what a disaster that was, Rick. We had crabs. This was a long time ago. We're talking maybe 25 years. But
What kind of hotel was this? Was it like
it was a motel. It was only open at night. Like, I didn't want to drive home. I was going to drive home. And then I said, let's just grab a hotel. What do you think? Yeah, okay. So we grabbed these motels. They're motels.
Yeah.
Not thinking. We jumped in there and I did the same thing. I did the same thing a couple of years ago. I went to Quebec, Gatineau, and went to visit some people, and I went shopping for. They had the booze stores are like big.
Are you sure that you got the crabs from the bed at the motel and not maybe?
Yes.
Was
her? No, we were dating. I would have got her a long time ago.
The question: are you sure?
Yeah.
Did maybe she wasn't, sharing a little bit of no.
I got it.
Honey,
we both got it.
It must have been the
We
whole
both
motel
got
we
it.
stayed in.
It was a disaster. We had to, we had to buy this lotion, and I'm telling you, and change the sheets, and took about a week.
A likely story.
Finally.
A likely story.
Anyhow, it was well, this is what happens when you go to these hotels. You don't know. They're jumping everywhere.
How long had you known this young lady that this woman that you?
Oh, we were together for a long time. Yeah. She was a little hot to handle. All the guys were after her.
I'm not surprised.
Back in those days, I got jealous a lot. Huh?
I'm not surprised they were all after her. The question, really, I think maybe you should have been asking is, how many of them were catching her when you weren't looking?
Oh, when I wasn't around, I see.
And then,
well, that's how our relationship broke up.
No kidding.
I caught her messing around.
Yeah.
So then
the motel story begins to unravel.
We were living together.
Yeah.
In an apartment.
Yeah.
I caught her messing around. She used to go out with her girlfriend Saturday night.
Of course she did.
Drinking.
Yes, she did.
And I was cool with that.
Yeah, of course.
And then she come home half in the bag, I guess, at 2, 3 in the morning. And then
how many years ago was this, John? How many years ago?
Oh, 30 years.
30 years.
25, I don't know, long time.
And 30 years later, Rick helps to wake John up. Hello.
So I got a perm. 30 years.
I don't think you're hearing what I'm saying, but that's okay.
What'd you say? 30
nothing.
years?
Yeah,
30
nothing.
Years,
no. Yeah. What was the name of this? What was the name of this motel?
Oh, in Buffalo? Oh, who knows? It was by the airport. That's all I know. But you know how I caught her? I got a perm one day, and I got all curly hair, and I sat in the bar where she used to go. She didn't know what I looked like. She walked right by me like 2 or 3 times, didn't even recognize me. And then I seen her hanging around with her and her girlfriend with these 2 guys. And then after the bar, I sat in my car and I seen them jump in the car and take off. And I said, okay. So after after that, I just packed the suitcase and left. I left everything behind. I said, everything's yours. I'm out of here. And then she tried so hard to get me back. It didn't work. I found a native broad after that, and we've been together for a long time. Anyhow, that's water under the bridge. But she's still around, and we still talk. She's got dementia. she's in a
Time
dementia
marches
now.
on.
Yeah.
Times change. Yeah. Are the guy and today are the guys still chasing after her?
Oh
Maybe
yeah,
not.
she's
Yeah?
apparently she's still good looking today. Oh no, I'm not. She's not bad looking. Like she's not fat. She's got big hooters, you know. So guys are after her. Oh yeah, still today. She's having problems at the home. There are too many boyfriends. I don't know what she does there, but anyways, I'm a one woman guy. You know, I don't need all that. I don't need it. Anyways, it's
Well, do you think the
it's funny.
dementia would be like make her more or less desirable?
I don't know. She's in a home, so well, it's not really a home. It's just it's up north, and it's just a house on the side of the highway there, and it's just a bunch of old people who live there. It's like a home, I guess, but it's not really a home. But I don't know what you call those places, but it's
A couple of words come
probably
to
like
mind the way
40.
you're describing it, but I'm hoping that I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that
Anyways.
I'm hoping that it is just like a long-term care facility of some kind for seniors.
Yeah. Well, it's something like. Well, actually, they just cook for you, and they look. There's no care. You got your own room, or you sleep with somebody else, two people.
Well, that's kind of what she was doing before, was sleeping with somebody else.
and they cook for you, and you know that's about it. You know. So
Did she
gets
cook
3
for
square
you?
meals a day.
Did she ever cook for you?
Oh yeah. She did everything. She cleaned and cooked. She did everything. Now I got to do it all myself.
She did everything. Yeah.
Yeah, she did everything. She was good like that. You know, she was she was laundry, everything. Oh yeah.
This has been an interesting
she
call.
was,
What was her name? Just her first name.
Brenda.
Brenda.
Brenda McIsaac.
You can't do that. Now we're gonna get. Oh well, she has dementia. She's not gonna know, and it was a long time ago.
She doesn't. Maybe she does. She hasn't listened to the show. She's got better things to do.
Did she ever get married or what? Did she get married?
No. I've never been married in my life. No.
No, her, John.
No, she's never been married. No.
Well, maybe
No.
never too old to rekindle things.
I'm
She's
not
still
marrying
single and ready to mingle.
No, Rick.
If she
But
remembers
I'll
you.
set her up with you if you want.
No thanks, man. I've got one already, and one's enough.
Yeah, you got one. Okay, so well, anyways, there's not a shortage of women in this country, so that's one thing for sure. But
I don't want another one. I don't want a replacement. I certainly don't want a younger one, because they're just way too much drama. And I don't want an older one because, they get dementia and you can't talk to them. So what's the point?
she was like 9 years older than me. Yeah, she was a lot older than me. Yes.
Yeah. See, you're further ahead with a dog. Get yourself a dog. You have a dog, don't you?
Yeah. I got a cat. The cat's good. She's like a dog, though. She follows me around and everything,
Yeah.
But dogs are cool. Yeah. I seen a nice dog today, a German Shepherd. Beautiful dog. Just back of a car there, was just looking at me, Looked friendly, but I didn't go up to it. But it was a nice dog. Really, really nice dog.
That's cool.
Big dog. Yeah. So, oh, by the way, yesterday I played it safe, Rick. I put some money on Baltimore for you.
Oh.
It didn't pay a hell of a lot, but you won. That's the main thing.
Oh.
I've been taking chances. Like today, I took the Jays to win, the Jays at the under. I took White Sox. I paid a lot of money. I bet about 600 today, and I think I've cashed everything in except one ticket I lost. But tomorrow I'm gonna be. I don't know what I'm gonna do tomorrow. Maybe the stock market, because it's. I sold everything in the stock. I'm all cash in stocks right now because I feel there's gonna be a big crash between now and October. So I don't want to get caught with my pants down and no money. So this way I got money to get in. That's how you make money. You buy low, sell high.
Yep.
And so tomorrow's only 4 games because tomorrow everybody's traveling. So I'm not. Yeah. So I'm gonna be. I don't know what I'm gonna do tomorrow. The person I work for is gone on holidays till the end of September. So I'm kind of on holidays, I guess you can say.
Well, enjoy it while you can. Summer's coming to an end.
Yeah, and but we're going through a recession, Rick. It's going to happen between now and 2024.
Yes.
And it's not gonna be good.
Nope.
Yeah, so people out there, watch your dollars today. You know what they said today? Get this. People with credit cards, guess how much they owe on their credit card? They did a survey.
Probably $5,000 to $10,000, something like that.
You were right the first time. 5,000.
Yeah, because most people would have a limit of about 4,000 to 5,000, and most people are maxed out.
Yep, that's exactly what they said. My credit card, 0. They don't make a dime off me. As soon as I get the bill, I pay it off.
Yeah.
I don't like borrowing money. I don't like being in debt. So, and I'm telling you, those credit cards are a bad thing. The interest rate is really high. A lot of people are going to get hurt.
Yep.
Credit cards. It's too easy. I pay cash. It's too easy to tap and go. I go everywhere. Everybody's tapping their phones, tapping their cards. Fucking knuckleheads, tap. Put money in your pocket, then you know how much money you got, and you go, holy fuck, I got $20 left. I better take it easy. Pay cash, people, because the government's going to take it from you anyways. Your freedom to pay for cash, it's going away. It's going down the tubes, man. We're going digital.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think there's anything we can do to stop that. It's coming whether we like it or not. So, I mean, I don't know what else to say to people. Like, that's just, I think that's the reality. Like, I'd like to maybe find some way to put pressure on government so they continue to print hard currency and paper and coins. But I don't know. Do you think that we can do that? Seems to me the government's pretty hell-bent on doing what they want to do.
A lot of my friends tap.
Yeah.
I go, why don't you pay cash, man? He goes, I get points for tapping. So they get points. I said, and the government knows everything you spend your money on, everything you're buying, everything you're spending.
Yeah.
I said, nobody knows nothing I do. Like I go out and spend $800 on gambling today. It's all cash. And I get when I cash in, they don't know I gambled $800, but if it's on credit, they know exactly. And once you start that log digital, it doesn't go away. Yeah. It's a record. It's and they control you. They know exactly what you're up to, what you're doing.
Yep.
And
But you know what? I mean, the truth is they already have a lot of that capability at their disposal now because you can only carry around so much cash. Everything else is in the bank, or an investment or whatever. And if it's not in, if you don't have it in cash and everything else you have, it's basically
I got
digital now.
$1,800
Right?
here.
How
I got
much?
$1,800 here, and
Yeah.
1,800 in tickets,
Yeah.
winning tickets.
Wow.
So when I go, I bring winning tickets,
Yeah.
and I use them,
Yeah.
and I get money back and put it in my wallet. But how did they keep track? How did they know I got $1,800 winning tickets?
Oh, I don't know about that, but I'm just saying that, most people
I started off with a couple $100, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm just saying that most people have a bank account. If you have a bank account, that's basically digital right there because they don't keep actual enough cash on hand, right? That's just a number in an account. It's just that's digital.
Well, that I can see. Yes.
Yeah.
That there's a problem with a bank account, but that's what I mean. If you use credit or tap, you got trails. Cash is king, man.
Yeah.
Nobody understands that.
Cash. Cash is the way, that's right. Cash is privacy.
Yeah.
And it keeps the government out of your transaction, other than the fact that it's the government endorsing it, legalizing it as a means of exchange, right? Universal exchange. And the government backs that up as a note, but they don't get involved in individual transactions. So you get privacy from that. But beyond that, I mean, the government can right now freeze your bank account if they want to. And we've seen them do that. That's the truth. That's the reality. We're already living in a digitized economy where your money is in a bank account. The money that's in the bank account isn't real. It's digital now. People who think otherwise are kidding themselves. If everybody went down to the bank right now to get their cash, the bank wouldn't be able to give it all out to people because they don't keep enough cash on hand to give out everybody's cash.
Oh
It's
yeah,
not there.
I've done that. I've done that before. I went to pull out about 10 grand, 15 grand, and I had to go back the next day.
Yep.
Or because they don't have it.
That's right.
Sitting around.
So don't kid yourself,
you get a
folks.
money order.
The economy is already digitized. Your money is already digitized. These people who are making a big deal out of the CBDCs, I mean, I get it. And that takes it to a new level, but we're already digitized. And they have, in my opinion, way too much control over us as it is because of that. But for convenience and even some security, because you're not carrying cash around, you have a debit card and you have to have your PIN number and all of that stuff, right? So for various reasons, people use the cards, and we have bank accounts to store our money.
Yeah,
But
but
the truth
cards. I
is,
don't
like,
want to
they
hear.
don't have enough cash on hand to back up those deposits.
Cash makes money.
Yeah.
Cash. You know how much money I've made off cash? I'm buying something. It's say $60. I go, here's $50 bill, cash, no receipt.
Right.
You want it or not? I don't really need that. And the guy looks at me, he goes, okay. Save myself $10 plus tax. And I do that a lot. Because I don't need nothing.
Yeah.
And if somebody's trying to push something to you, I go, how much you want for that? 60? Well, here's 50 cash. I don't need a receipt. You want it or not? Okay. I'm stuck with it. I go, what am I going to do with this stuff?
The other
And then
price,
end up
yes,
giving it away.
cash is awesome, and because cash is worth more. Cash is worth more because if you're doing digital transactions, it's traceable, it's taxable, and they charge fees. So every time that currency changes hands in digital form, the banks, the credit card processing companies, the debit card processing companies, everybody's taking a fee because there's a service fee. With cash, I hand you cash, you take the cash, you hand it to somebody else. Nothing's taken in any fees along the way. So it's worth more.
I'm watching the Yankees in Detroit right now.
Yeah.
It's in Detroit. And I just noticed in the stadium, the outdoor part, there's a big Ford hanging up on the side of the wall. White Ford. In Detroit. It's a truck.
An
Ford.
F-150?
I don't know what kind of.
Probably.
Probably that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's brand new. It's on the. It's like a showpiece on the stadium there.
Cool.
They're probably getting money for doing that, eh?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And with I agree with you. There's probably going to be WW3 going to happen. I agree with that. What you said tonight, and another thing I don't agree with you. I know a lot of black people, a hell of a lot of them. I know a lot of people, but none of them like Trump. I don't know where you're getting those stats from, but
it was a poll.
none
I'm
of
just
them
reporting the poll.
well,
It was a Fox News poll
all the black
from
people I
2
know.
days ago.
I don't know anybody who likes Trump.
Hmm.
You all hate him because
Really?
he's too conceited. He's too, you know what I mean? It's all about, me. You know, you know what I mean? But anyways, they don't like him, and I asked him, why don't you like the guy? You know, he did good for you guys. He gave you jobs. You guys, he turned your whole economy around and everything.
Yeah.
Now you're back to the poorhouse. He goes, they just don't like his attitude. He's too arrogant, I guess.
A lot of people feel that way, you know, like even though he, according to this poll that I cited tonight, it suggests he would win by a landslide. That's just because of the way the electoral college works. It's not like he, he's so far out in front in that poll. If he were to run against Biden, that, it was like 48 or 49 to whatever it was for Biden. Just, not a huge gap, but it's enough that, you win strategically and then you end up with a landslide victory. But yeah, I totally get it, man. The country is divided. It's sort of a 50-50
I'll give you
split.
my take.
Yeah.
I'll give you my take on what's going to happen in the elections.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Democrats are going to win. And it's going to be rigged. AI is going to rig it.
Okay, well, we can't say things like that here.
No, that's my take. I'm not saying it's going to happen.
I know. They don't want you to say things like that on YouTube, Facebook. Right?
Yeah. You know, sometimes I get bored and I just search. I advise everybody to do that. I got a call the other day from Bell Canada.
Yeah.
No, Rogers. I'm sorry. It was Rogers. I got a call from Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
And I swear to God, it was an AI person on the other line. It wasn't a real person. So I hung up. But I Googled how to confuse an AI person, if it's a real person or AI. And they, how long you been doing this job? You ask them. Go, do you like your job? So there's all these questions you ask. They will confuse the heck out of them. They don't know what to say. Just confuse them. But you'll be, I don't know if you've got any calls yet, but you're going to get them. If I get them, you're going to get them. And you won't even know if it's a real person on the other line.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's coming. And these telemarketers, they're going to be all AI. And they're probably going to be real good. They'll sell a freezer to an Eskimo, these guys. That's how good they are.
Oh, my.
Yeah. Wow. Anyhow.
Well,
anyways,
John, thank you, sir.
I'll put it in the mail this weekend for you.
Oh, you're awesome, man. Thank you. I really appreciate it, John.
Yeah. Maybe the next time I'll take a little higher risk and get you some more, give you 2 or 3 or 4 to 1 odds. But I just wanted to make sure you win. That's all. But anyways.
Well,
anyways, Rick, nice talking to you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Nice talking to you. Good show, by the way. Yeah, bye.
Thank you. And tomorrow night, if all goes well, according to plan, we are supposed to have a special guest on, Grant Abraham. He tried to run for the leadership of the Conservative Party of Canada against Pierre Poilievre. Anyway, he has a new book out, and he is scheduled to appear on our program tomorrow night. So I am looking forward to that. He was on the program before about talking about the leadership race at the time, which didn't go very well for him because of the way the party is set up. Sort of echoes of the DNC on the Canadian side in a way. But looking forward to the conversation with Grant Abraham tomorrow night. And it's very freedom focused. So it should be a great conversation. And if you are so inclined, you can support the channel if you like what we do by donating at freedomreporters.com. As you see on the bottom ticker on the lower part of the screen. And if you haven't liked, shared, subscribed, please consider doing that. Just even liking on the YouTube channel, if you're still on over there on our secondary YouTube channel, please consider liking and hit the notification bell if you've subscribed. And please, please, please consider subscribing over on Rumble. That's the free speech platform. That's where we need to grow. And thank you to Lori and Kevin for making their platforms available tonight as well to combat the censorship issues that we continue to face here. So that makes sure that we all have a voice as part of this new sort of a network that we're setting up with other streamers. And we'll have more to say about that in the days and weeks to come, as well as our efforts there to preserve and promote free speech and free media continue right here on the Maverick News Channel. Folks, I will be back tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here. Thank you, everyone, for spending your time here this evening. It's a privilege. And I look forward to seeing you on the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.